Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Happy Thursday, happy Friday. We are so thrilled to have our global audience here at USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, inspiration, and hope. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and it's my honor to be here hosting the show today, which is The Resume Whisperer, starring Joseph Stetter. Joseph has helped over 11,000 people find gainful employment. He is truly the most expert we have ever had on this show, on this platform, I should say, when it comes to giving advice about how to up your game when it comes to interviewing, when it comes to changing careers, when it comes to getting what it is that you want from your employer. Let's welcome him to the show. He's joining us today from Canada. Hello.
Hello, hello. Again, I apologize for my appearance. I'm recovering from shoulder surgery, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit.
It's your show. You can dress any way you want. So there.
Well, we're excited to have a guest today that's going to bring a different perspective and, kind of see his experiences and his perspectives from a perspective of working in HR, climbing the corporate ladder, to also now kind of offering mindset coaching. And the idea that, as I've mentioned in several episodes, by no means am I the only experts out there. I've had my experiences. I've collected my knowledge a certain way, and every person has their own. And when it comes to helping you land your dream job, it's very important that you find somebody that you can work with, whether you relate to them because they are identify as the same gender as you, whether it's the same cultural background as you, whether they've worked for certain companies that you want to work with. There isn't one right coach, because at the end of the day, it's personality, and it's about how the tips and the tools that are being given to you are applied, right? At the end of the day, part of the way that I do things, some people like it, some people don't, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. And myself and our guest today are here to serve, are here to make sure that, you have various ways of learning and maximizing your job search, and kind of being a valuable asset to our company. So let's welcome Rahul Sharma.
Absolutely. Rahul is joining us from Washington, D.C., originally from India, and he is a transformational speaker, an author, a mindset coach. He has an MBA in human resources and a master's in organizational development. Let's welcome him to the show. Hello.
Hello. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Dr. Jacqueline. How are you?
Hi. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here with us today. So we were just talking briefly backstage about your passion, and also about the fact that you are heavily involved with keynote speaking, servant leadership, and I think you're bringing a great dynamic to the program today. What was it that made you want to register to be on this specific show?
So I always believe in giving, and the platform that allows me to give my knowledge, share my knowledge, I'm up for it. And Joseph's show I noticed that it's a need of an hour. There are a lot of people in career transition, and sometimes they feel that they are alone. And in last couple of months, if you see, there is a lot of turmoil in the corporate industry, a lot of layoffs that has happened. So I thought that I will be able to share my inputs to all the people who are into career transition or probably looking for a change from college to corporate.
Perfect. So
Excellent.
we'll start with this as a kind of introduction. So, based on your experience in kind of having a master's in HR and a master's in organizational behavior, what are you seeing are kind of, we'll start with resumes. What are the biggest problems that you're noticing on resumes? And then we'll get into the interviews and kind of where you're noticing differences in people. And I'll chime in after you if that's okay, Rahul. Go ahead.
Sure. So one of the things that I noticed that the resume, the way we write resume, most of us are not resume writer, and it's important for them to either take assistance or take help from someone who is an expert there. What I see is we do not mention our experience in a way that would be applicable to the job. Most of the time we have a very stereotyped resume, and then we just randomly post those resumes to all the jobs, whereas it's important for job seeker to customize their resume to a specific job. Let's say there is a job which is looking for 3 to 4 skills that you have experience in. You will need to customize your profile to showcase that particular skill set on your resume, and that's where I see some challenges. And the way we mention our accomplishments, our great things that we have done, can also is an area of improvement for many. So that's something I've seen in my experience, Joseph.
That I want to kind of follow up questions because I've spoken about this and Dr. Jocelyn has, as part of that. So the first is, are you a fan of like what I call cookie cutter resume, which is chronological or functional? Or do you think that semi functional is now the new standard or should be the new standard? And second of all, do you find in your experience that people list or quantify their technical skills enough? Or do they focus on the kind of what I call fluffy information, like saying that they're hardworking, dedicated, committed team player with excellent communication skills?
So I'm not a big fan of a cookie cutter approach
Okay.
for resume. Mentioning about the skills, I see that people mention skills for just like when you go to a restaurant, you see a bunch of things on their menu. But there are certain restaurants which are very very specific. They only serve few things. So as a human being, we cannot be master of all. We need to focus on the skills that we really have experience and we really have that expertise. The big thing which I see missing is the personal skills or human skills. Today, in the era of digital technology, or the era where we are seeing a lot of people quitting on their job, it's so important for our leaders to have that empathy, those human skills, which can help them to engage their employees in a better way. So I do see that as a missing piece, and we do not put a lot of emphasis on learning on those skills. A lot of emphasis is given on the technical skills, and that's where we see the functional skills, technical skills more on the resume versus the human skills.
I agree with you. I think that part of the problem is that unless there's companies that understand the importance of personality or psychometrics characteristics assessments, it becomes kind of an exercise in futility almost to measure your level of empathy unless you're a good storyteller and you can share an example that demonstrates, because anybody can say that they're empathetic, but there's empathetic and there's empathetic. There are certain standards that, having worked, let's say, in a call center, you want to say the customer's name at least 3 or 4 times in a call. You want to, stay calm and kind of follow a certain process, but it's very hard on a resume, at least to measure. The other problem that I find, and since you've worked in HR and kind of educational background, is that most of the applicant tracking systems aren't coded or aren't designed to measure some of the soft skills. So
Mhm.
people have to populate the technical skills in order to at least be seen or be noticed in the algorithms, kind of thing, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the applicant tracking system is not designed for that at the moment. And they just see those must have skills that is there on the job description. If they are there, that's where they go to the next level. So I agree. It is a little challenging for the ATS to review that. But at the same time, the person who is reviewing the resume, if there is a human who is reviewing the resume, which at the end of the day they do, that will really be a differentiator for many of us.
right, but unfortunately, a lot of the resume reviewers kind of scan for the keywords the same. They're not necessarily reading. So why don't you share with us like the best and the worst in terms of both either a resume or interview that you've had your own experience with in terms of candidates that you've interviewed where you're like, wow, this person impressed me, and tell me why they impressed you so much. And then somebody that completely didn't impress you. And again, uh, for the listeners, I think most people don't understand the why is more important than the actual skill, because the
Mhm.
why gives me insights to the level of your background, right? Because anybody can say that they have excellent communication skills. I've met lots of people that do not. Please share
Sure.
with us a story or two, because I've definitely said very similar things in previous shows. So, your thoughts, Rahul?
Sure. So, from a resume perspective, what some of the things that have wowed me is the simplicity and the number of pages. I mean, I'm not a big fan of 5 page or 6 page resume. 2 pages enough, and the simplicity in which they have explained their skill set, they have explained what they have done in that profile. That is what has impressed me from a interview perspective. And before I move there, the other aspect also is your first resume that you will build may not be the best resume. So probably when you go through some experience by giving few interviews, you take inputs from the interviewers or critiques from some expert, you will be able to improvise on your resume as you move forward in the process of job hunting. From the interview perspective, I see that a lot of us, we do not do preparation for the interview. And what I mean by preparation is doing some mock interviews so that you are prepared for how your response are being viewed, or how fluently they are coming out from you. That is number one. Number two, I have seen people who are giving response to the point rather than beating around the bush. They do better job. Someone who is very very concise in the response and really listening to the question. At times, the question is A and the response is B. So we need to do a better job in doing attentive listening so that we really respond to the question that has been asked by the interviewer. The other thing in the interviews, I have seen many a times that the interviewers, they do not research their employers. They do not know much about the company. And this is my sincere request that research your employer. If you are able to know the name of the interviewer, know about them, look at their LinkedIn profile, so that you can find some common things. You can connect. You can talk about some of the things that you have seen on their LinkedIn profile, or probably any other places where you have done your research at. Other thing which I see is we are not prepared for the question that, do you have any questions for us? And many a times we just say no questions. And actually, that is the right opportunity for us to really ask some great questions about the culture, about the environment, about the growth prospects, rather than just limiting us to respond to the question for that particular job. So
Okay,
those are some of my inputs.
100% agree with you. So, as an seasoned interviewer, what is one of your favorite questions to ask a candidate to kind of get a great sense of who they are? And what is a question that you want a candidate to ask you at the end of the interview?
So one of my favorite question is I ask them that tell if you have to call three people that love you the most, and you ask them the question that what areas of improvement you have, what they will tell you.
Okay.
So that is one of my favorite question. The question that I would that probably most of the that I would love to hear from the interviewees would be about the environment. What is the work environment? What is the work culture? How I will be able to thrive in this environment? And probably what are the things that we do as an organization to make it as a safe workplace, make it as a place which is really giving them an opportunity to grow.
Excellent. I very much agree. I have that, and I think this is where you hit on it earlier. Um, that a lot of candidates aren't prepared. They don't understand the importance of the questions at the end of the interview. Now, do you have a number of questions that a candidate should ask you at the end of the interview? My personal thoughts are 3 to 10, three that are very job specific, and three that are more in the culture and, like you said, the ways in which a candidate can succeed in the company. What are your thoughts, please? And then I think Dr. Jaslin also has a question.
Sure. So I would say less is more. So you ask maybe one or two questions that will really make your decision go or no go for that employer, because you may not get multiple opportunities to ask that individual. And if that person is the one with whom you would be working, you really need to understand their style, or what is their preferred way of engaging with new people. So I would say less is more when it comes to asking question with your interviewers.
Perfect. And Dr. Jaslin, did you have a question as well?
Yes, thank you. I just read an article yesterday about Gen Z. A number of Gen Zs were interviewed, and they said that they learn more from robots than they do from their bosses. So my question is, when you have a generation that's been completely raised on technology, they're not used to that interaction with humans. And so how would you coach a Gen Z for an interview when they're going to be dealing with a human as opposed to a device?
Yeah, great question. I think this is one of the challenge that we are seeing. But at the end of the day, I believe that an organization is built up of people. And interaction with people is very, very critical. Yes, they can learn from robots, but robots are still not empathetic. They are not able to understand the cultural aspect, nuances of that. So I would say is, instead of a Gen Z, it is more a learning curve for leaders like us to create an environment where you are giving an opportunity to Gen Zs to engage with you. I think we have to do a better job as leaders to create that environment and understand from their perspective. Just because things, when we were growing, or probably when we came into our leadership role for the first time, we got success about with doing something, we cannot continue doing the same thing today, because we also need to learn and adapt to make sure that the new work population is also comfortable with your strategy.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
just going to add to that again, Dr. Jocelyn, I agree with Rahul that this was a fantastic question. The learning management, and especially the online learning management, is exploding like crazy, especially as a result of the pandemic. And so what's happening right now is there are 5 generations that are working together that each have different communication style, and I'll even argue different learning styles, because yes, AI can teach you a lot of things, but as much as AI can, let's say, write a resume, AI will never personalize your story, and AI will never personalize your personality. And so there's a level where, Dr. Jaslin, I'm going to use you, and this is where Rahul said too. I know that you're very dedicated to being healthy and fit and working out regularly. As much as I can watch YouTube and Instagram and TikTok videos on being healthy, if I don't physically do it, it doesn't matter how many videos I've seen.
Right.
And so there is now kind of almost like a dynamic where kids are going, ooh, AI can solve this for me. I can get my degree. I can get a job. And yes, AI might be able to solve certain things, but AI cannot account for, I'll use the word randomness. So, and I'll tie it in like this. Malcolm Gladwell, which is one of my favorite authors, in one of his books, I believe it was called Outliers, or I think it was Outliers. But anyways, there's a financial advisor in, I want to say, the Hamptons, that you have to invest a minimum of $1 million with him. And he lets you know that you're going to lose money 364 days of the year. In advance, he lets you know that before you sign up with him. But the one day you won't, it's because an anomaly will happen that the market cannot calculate. Tsunami, a war, something that is not part of the regular charts and rhythms and calculations of what should be happening in the market, because there's, a multitude of, analysis that you can use, candlesticks, you can use moving patterns, I've worked as a stock trader, so I know this, but you can't account for things that are not part of the regular calculations, but they will happen every single year, and they will happen at least twice, maybe 3 times a year. And generally when they happen, the results, if you've bet that those things will happen, are so big that the people that invest with this person in the Hamptons will actually make 10 times what they lose during the year anyhow. So they invest $1 million, they lose 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, and then all of a sudden they make $10 million back because of the fact that they bet against the market. And you're going to see this in engineering and a lot of other things. Like, as a recruiter, I've had clients, let's say accounting clients, that tell me, millennials have learned how to memorize a textbook. But the ones that become partners are the ones that can have a conversation, the ones that can think outside the box and go, you know what, we can defer your taxes this way and do this. And especially in the United States, where your tax code is 86,000 pages, and you can have an LLC reporting to an S Corp, reporting to a C Corp, reporting back to an LLC, all legally and all in ways that minimize the amount of taxes that you have to pay. And so if you want to advance in your career in accounting, you cannot rely on ChatGPT to give you those solutions. And this is where a lot of companies right now, initially, and I think there's a huge shift right now, had this mindset of, we can get a new MBA that just graduated that doesn't have experience to do a job that somebody with 20 years of experience has done for double the salary. The problem is that they might have the ideas, but they don't have the experience. They have no idea what's worked, what doesn't work. And if they're only relying on AI, there's a limit. Like, I guarantee you that if all my social media was AI and my AI robot sounded a little bit like this, my credibility would be very low. And I think this is where, Rahul, I'll let you chime in because you're also a mindset coach, and how that applies to job seekers and changing the mindset that AI will teach me, or changing the mindset of I'm entitled to this, or you owe me that. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think, as you mentioned, Dr. Jack, the other piece is, no matter which industry you are in, you will have to work with people. You have to involve with people. And for that perspective, you need to build those networks, those relationships, because in the corporate world, or even if you're an entrepreneur, that really makes a difference. And from the mindset perspective of a job seeker, in my opinion, I'm coming with like 3 mindset. Number 1 would be the positive mindset. You need to be optimistic. You need to focus on your inner strengths rather than focusing on the external factors, because you have no control on external factors. You have only control on you. So have that positive mindset. The other is the growth mindset. You need to embrace the learning opportunities. And learning opportunities not only when you are sitting in front of a webinar or a workshop. From your experience, reflect on those experience and probably your day-to-day experience. Today, a lot of people say that I don't have time for learning. My counter argument is, every experience that you are having, even if a conversation with your child or your family, you are learning. There is a learning there. And the third piece for a job seeker would be that entrepreneurial mindset. Have the attitude of a tiger. Tiger is not the tallest tallest animal or the biggest animal in the jungle, but still he is the king of a jungle, because when he sees a prey, he sees as lunch. Period. That's it. So if we can have that kind of mentality, I'm sure we will be able to make things come true for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is where most job seekers have a mindset of I have to versus I get to. And that's a huge, huge shift that people need to make, that, you get the opportunity to earn a living. You get the opportunity to take care of your family versus you have to. And yes, the expression job is just over broke, or, but when you have a mindset that this is going to be your career, that you're enjoying it, that you'll never work a day in your life, and you'll get paid a lot more because people recognize your expertise in the subject. And I think this is where, again, Rahul touched on this, that, no one is a man on an island unto themselves, and everybody needs, as an entrepreneur, you need an accountant, you need a lawyer. If you're not the best at marketing, you need help with marketing, you need a videographer. There's a lot of things that you need. And unless you learn how to have conversations with people, there's only so far you can go. And I think this is where we have a huge gap. Any other thoughts for you, Rahul, on this subject or in general?
So one of the thing that's coming to my mind is a lot of people, as we have this 80-20 rule, that 80% of people, 20% of people do 80% of work. And how, as leaders, we can convert that more of those 20%. And one of the thing in my experience I have seen is every human has its own personality, and every job also has its own personality. I have seen that the magic happens when the individual's personality matches with the job's personality. That's when you don't take it as a job. You really enjoy, and you really make it to give your best always and every time. So personality is a big factor when it comes to job search. The other piece which I have seen many of us we miss is the environment. Let's say if you're moving from one organization to another, let's say you're working for IBM. Now IBM is known for a very process oriented, very structured. Now if you are moving to an startup on the other hand is having a very agile structure. So if you have been successful in a structured environment, that does not necessarily mean that you will also become successful in an agile environment. So you need to analyze yourself that whether you are the right fit for the job or not, with the help of the environment of your new industry or new domain or a new employer. So work environment is very, very critical in matching your personality to the job's personality. That's where I see we create highly engaged employees.
And I will take that a step further and say that more companies need to create internal mentorship. I think that there's a massive gap where executives that are leaders forget to build the people underneath them, and to kind of show them what it takes to get to their level, and to train them and to coach them on both the technical and the soft skills in combination. Because just if you look at sports, for example, the greatest athletes in the world, very few of them, or very rarely, do they become coaches. Because there's a very big difference between being an athlete and being a coach. There's a very different communication style. So this is where, when you have directors, VPs, C-level executives, if they don't offer mentorship, just because someone is brilliant in engineering does not necessarily mean they're a great leader. They might be a brilliant engineer. And I 100% agree with Rahul that, the culture and the environment plays a big shift, because one of my clients as recruiting was Tata Consulting Services, huge company, but even me as a recruiter, just talking to them, I had so many cultural issues because everything had to be approved in India. And I'm like, but I need decisions here in Canada. I don't need decisions in India.
Yeah.
And so the delay, the red tape that was involved was very, very frustrating. And I think that this is where, as part of Rahul now being an entrepreneur and a leadership coach and a mindset coach and so forth, there's that understanding that, okay, yes, we can teach you ways to better interview people. We can teach you better ways to create organizational structure where it's more defined and people know what the expectations are. However, if there's no mentorship between, and even cross-cultural training where someone who, Steve Jobs was notorious for this, that his engineers and his marketing team had to agree. If the marketing said we don't like this, doesn't matter how passionate the engineers were, but they were always shown the other side so that they could work together and build things together. And I think that this is a massive gap in the industry. Your thoughts, Rahul?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing which is coming to my mind when you were talking about it is about the Project Oxygen that was initiated by Google in 2008, where overnight they moved their managers to just individual contributors, and they realized that they do not have the right attributes to be a manager. And for an entrepreneur, it is just not about how good hiring you do. It is just not about how good training you give to them. It is equally important is how you manage them when they are part of your team. And that's where we at times make mistakes. We think that, okay, well, now they are part of us, we have trained them, now it's their job. But I think if we leaders and entrepreneurs can manage those employees on a day-to-day basis, that would be amazing. The other aspect that I have seen, Joseph, is we as leaders, when we become leaders, the one-on-ones that we do is more to get through that one-on-one, rather than understanding people. What are their aspirations? What are their situation? What is their story? What's going on in their personal life? And we just go about numbers, numbers, numbers. So that is one way I would say that we need to manage them well. When it comes to the training, when you're talking about the leadership or mentorship, yes, I do see a lot of organizations, they have the mentorship program, but it is very, very formal. I would recommend to have a mentorship program where there is a really good involvement from the leader from a timing perspective. Not that they don't want to mentor someone, but because of their responsibilities, they do not have enough time. And if we can really carve out good time for them, maybe roughly an hour two on a weekly basis to really mentor the new leaders, we can build that culture of entrepreneurship. We can build a culture where we are building leaders from within rather than hiring from outside. So that is something I would recommend, to have a very good mentorship.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to make this tie in. Rahul, you'll appreciate this. One of my favorite movies of all time, Three Idiots, where they all go to the engineering school and you have, Raju that's just kind of so creative and not a typical engineer. But one of the scenes that stood out for me is after, I think it's Raju, jumps out the window and he's in a wheelchair and he's interviewing for a company, and they say, we need to be like this and we need to be like this and we need to be like this. And he says, nope, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be a yes man. I'm going, I jumped out of the building because I didn't think I was enough. And I think you're absolutely right that we need to not do it for the sake of doing it, but do it for the sake of, helping everybody level up together. We have a few minutes left. I saw Dr. Jackson's message there. So, Rahul, I'll give you a kind of a quick chance to explain who you are and how people can get a hold of you, and final thoughts on the talk as a whole. And thank you for being on our show, I'll say in advance.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So, as I embarked my entrepreneur journey after 2 decades of corporate world, I'm currently focusing on helping our managers become empowered leaders through my workshop, and also focusing on how I can help our college students to get their dream job. So the journey from college to corporate is another program that I'm initiating. I'm also very much fascinated to build young speakers. And what I realized when I was looking for a public speaking class for my daughter, my 11-year-old daughter, I couldn't find any near my area. So I will be doing a community service by providing a workshop for young speakers so that they can speak with confidence and they can do their best. So these are some of the things. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Amazon with my book. My book is Habits for Miracles. And give me a shout out. We'll be more than happy to connect with you and help you in your journey of transformation.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And again, Rahul, it's been a pleasure. Definitely reinforce some of the things that I've said in a slightly different way. I 100% agree with you. At the end of the day, folks, be proactive, find someone that can guide you and can help you. And, there's plenty of experts there. Make sure it's the right expert for you. Ask them a few questions to make sure that they can understand you, they understand your background, they have experience with you. My name is Joseph Stetter. You can find me on most social media. My name and there. But again, it's that what we've been saying all along. Don't do it by yourself. Get help, get support. There's plenty of resources for you, and AI is not the only tool for you. Dr. Jaslin, any thoughts for you before we're done?
I just really appreciate the fact that we had two people here who just want to help others by providing expertise. And Joseph, I know this is just the way that you live your life, and I'm so thrilled that Rahul found us. And I look forward to having more interviews with him. And I would like you to just share before we close out, are you interested in having other people sign up as guests?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to start reaching out to different executives so that they can share what they look for specifically in different industries to help bring all of this back together from a perspective of, knowledge and how to use the knowledge to empower individuals to land their dream job.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for being here, and happy and quick healing to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening, whether you're on the live or the replay. Not only are we on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, but we're also on most of the audio platforms as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to listen in and learn. And our whole focus is about providing, as I mentioned in the beginning, world-class education, hope, and inspiration. So please do go over to our YouTube channel to watch our shows. They're all organized in playlists. So you just find the name of the show, and that's the playlist, and you can find all the episodes there. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com or usaglobaltvandradio.com. Thank you again. We will be back tomorrow with more shows. Please do reach out to Joseph, reach out to Rahul. They're both on LinkedIn. Do it. They're waiting to hear from you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium, I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school. This class is the best. This is the best school ever.
You should take it. It's just, it will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, PSE.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette. Building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.